Okay, do we have connection? I think we do. Hello, my dear friends, operator Starsky here. As always, it's a pleasure to see you, my friends. And today we won't have the usual updates as we have on my channel. Today I will be purely motivating you guys. And first thing that I want to say is that if you ever needed a sign to start acting, to start doing what you always wanted, this is the sign. Okay, so today we will talk about this channel, about content creation in general. I will share some of my stories, some of my experience. And funny thing, about 3 years ago I made this kind of cringy video called "Let Me Finally Introduce Myself." And today, for some reason I cannot explain, I feel exactly the same. No idea why. But I wanted to talk to you about content creation. Why is that? Is because we are finally launching the Freedom Forge School for content creators. And when I say we, I mean all your favorite YouTubers, Anna from Ukraine, Philip Itner, Jonathan Fink, uh, Artur Rehi, Georgie from Ukraine Matters, and many, many others. Andrew Mercado, possibly Dylan Burns, and very, very possibly some other people. We will reach them as well. But why are we doing this is because we, us, the pro-Ukrainian content creators, we want to share our experience with you, my friends, how to create content and why it matters. Why do people start creating content? What motivates them, right? Why do they make such choice? The reasons might be absolutely different. My reason was I was incredibly dissatisfied with what was happening in Ukraine around 2017, 2018. I was completely dissatisfied with that because in Ukraine, as always, as soon as Ukrainians realized that Russian hybrid invasion and annexation of Crimea is far enough from Kiev, so Kiev will not be hit by the artillery, then let's just continue living like we did before the Revolution of Dignity. Everything's like, okay, whatever, we don't care much. And we started, of course, fighting with each other, left political parties against right political parties, like in any other country, right? And it was insane. The amount of carelessness in the society was killing me. That is why I started my channel. And another reason why I started my channel was because I was a press officer in my brigade. Of course, I wanted to talk about my brigade because those were my guys. We've been together at different deployments, and I felt an obligation to talk about them, to tell their story. This is why I had my channel running in Ukrainian language, speaking about my guys. I think you can still find some of my videos there in like playlists on my channel. Some of the old ones, like made like 6 years ago. But it was cool, and this is the main reason why people start creating content, because it feels good. Because when you can make a content about things that you like, about when you can speak about things that you like, it feels good. It brings you satisfaction. I don't know how to explain it in different words. It feels okay. It feels nice, right? And we're not just talking about debunking Russian disinformation, reacting to what Joe Rogan or Elon Musk said or his father said. Recently, he stated that he and his son, Elon Musk, both respect Putin because he's such a great guy, he's so smart and things like that. Reaction to videos like that, or literally posting your videos about growing tomatoes, cooking spaghetti, doing makeup, whatever you do, if you can express yourself in this way, in the creative way, it always brings you satisfaction. There are absolutely different reasons. You know, I remember this saying, I'm not sure who said those words, but it says, when your soul is full, like over the top, everything is full with can be used as a weapon, which sounds extremely powerful in my opinion. And this is exactly the case. Whatever our souls, whatever is inside of our hearts, it can be expressed and it can be used as a weapon or as a tool. And when we say weapon, of course, we mean the weapon to protect, to defend. So there are a lot of ways that people can express. Somebody needs to vent, right? Somebody needs to share their knowledge, literally. Somebody has something to say, but not a lot of people that can listen to this person. We all need a way to express ourselves. And when we do, it feels great. My case currently is not the case. I do what I do on this channel that I'm running right now because I feel obliged to inform the international society, because there are so many decent people around the world helping Ukraine, and I want to deliver the information to them. I want to establish communication, and another reason is I want to express how grateful Ukrainians are for your support. This is the main idea behind my channel right now. And of course, another thing is debunking Russian fakes and destroying Russian disinformation. This is not something I enjoy doing. This is not something that I see as my primary mission. But this is something that I see as my goal, because Russian disinformation is destructive, because people suffer because of the Russian disinformation. And this is what I do. Right, my channel became big not because I was doing great, not because I was producing absolutely incredible content and things like that. No, it became big due to the tragedy, unfortunately. But you, my friends, have chance to do whatever you like on your very own channel and receive satisfaction from doing this. And I will be extremely, extremely happy to help you doing that. Of course, you might ask yourself, what if nobody's gonna watch my content whatsoever? Everybody has that fear. First of all, it's bullshit. You will always find a niche, and you always have opportunity to reach your audience. During the lessons, during the courses in the Freedom Forge School for Content Creators, we will be talking about it. We will be talking how to find the niche. We will be talking how to create interesting content that will attract audience. And you will learn how to grow your channel. You will learn from people with big followings, right? Like Arthur Ray, for example. Also, we have this absolutely amazing community, because if you become part of this school, of course, you will be communicating with other content creators. And this is something extremely, extremely important, because as you probably remember, several years ago when the full-scale Russian invasion started, There was one Ukrainian English-speaking channel that was mine. There were several English-speaking channels on about Ukraine from abroad, but generally the one speaking from Ukraine was basically mine. Later, our numbers grew because the community grew as well. We expanded, and this is something extremely important because when you collaborate with our other content creators, like I collaborated with my friends and brothers, Rick the Ukrainian, Roman Trochimets, Anna from Ukraine, she's also my brother. We expanded our community, and this also resulted in reaching bigger audience. Content creators often help each other reach other audiences because audience always tends to watch what they like, right? It's really hard to make mega supporters, for example, watch Jake Bro's content because they would prefer, I don't know, like OnlyFans or some Russia Today shit, right? To watching Jake Bro. Same here. Generally, we help other content creators find their audience, and we help their audience find those content creators, which I believe is absolutely amazing. So when you are part of this community, you have this opportunity to grow your audience and help expand your reach, which is, again, extremely important. How to find your niche? Basically, again, you can talk about what you feel is important or what you do the best, right? If you are a cooker, if you are a gamer, if you enjoy flight simulation and things like that, we gotta collaborate on this one 100%. But generally, you can create whatever content you like, and it will feel great, in my personal opinion. Another reward that YouTube and other content creators not often talk about is monetization. It will not be extremely huge. Of course, it depends because, for example, people like Markiplier, right? He plays all day long. He, I believe, streams his games sometime, and he has like millions and millions of subscribers. Of course, he's extremely rich. People with several 100,000 subscribers, maybe of course much less reach, but at the same time, if you have a YouTube channel, this is something that literally brings you some kind of funds that you can use to pay your bills or pay for your fuel, to refuel your car. It's a good thing. I will tell you one story that happened in 2022 or 2023, because I already don't remember. I believe it was in 2023, is when I was still on Facebook, and it's not like I'm bragging, okay? It's just something that you must understand, because this is something that can help other people. So I was on Facebook, and one of my friends, she was a wife of a serviceman, Katerina Snigur. She published an announcement on her Facebook that there is a 13-year-old girl, Katya, and her father is a mobilized serviceman currently at the front lines. And Katya had a disease that she was born with. She had a kind of a humpback or something like that, like her bones didn't grow properly. That's why she had problems with her heart. She couldn't breathe properly, and she really needed a surgery. And this woman, Katerina, she was looking for people who could donate to this girl, so she could have a surgery, because her father at this point, he was absolutely busy. He wasn't home. He provided for his family, of course, and he couldn't help. So I remember I woke up, I received my monetization on my channel, and I was scrolling my Facebook, and I noticed this announcement, and I asked her, how much do you need? And she said basically 2,000 euro. That will cover like the remaining, like the remains of the cost of the surgery. And I realized that basically that was my whole monetization at that point. And I decided that, of course, I can keep it, but if I just give it to this girl and she will have the surgery, this will probably save her life. And this is something that I will never be sorry about. You know, this kind of investment, I will never regret. And this is what I did. And it's not like I'm bragging, I'm trying to show off, because generally speaking, the reason this girl was saved was because you guys were watching my videos. So your views converted into her surgery that basically helped her. And this is something, again, something incredible, something that can only happen in this community, because I would never imagine things like that. So I wanted to share this story with you. Why did we decide to create the school for content creators? So first of all, it's incredibly important to speak, especially today. And the reason for that is because Russian propagandists, and I'm talking about like Russian, like those in Russia today, people working in studios and communication agencies in Moscow, they already established collaboration with thousands of pro-Russian speakers who spread their narratives. According to their most recent estimates, their number is bigger than between 3 and 5,000 people. I'm literally speaking about journalists, bloggers, content creators on YouTube, on TikTok, and different other platforms, on X. Majority of them were working in the United States, trying to disrupt democracy and freedom in the United States, and unfortunately they succeeded big time. Team Pool, one of the good examples. And in Europe, their number is growing, and it will grow. I believe they will also manage to recruit approximately 2,000-3,000 people before summer this year, which is something extremely disturbing, right? Let's be honest. And it's really important to speak, not only about this problem, not only trying to destroy Russian propaganda, not only fighting against Russian disinformation, but generally creating content. Russian propaganda and Russian disinformation, they have a very clear objective. It's sowing discord, it's demotivating, it's increasing the feeling of fear in their audience, in those viewers. That is their goal, and they will be working on that. And the only way to fight it is to create something beautiful, create content that will motivate other people, that will give them hope, that will give them idea. Share your experience, share your stories, because our stories is basically the biggest reason why other people are watching us. It's our stories. It's life. It's not something created or written like in a fiction or something like that. No, those are real stories that happen to us, and that's why they are so valuable. That's why we have to speak today. And this process must be massive. It's not like we are limited to only several channels and trying to pump up our own audience. We already passed that stage. Currently, it is required from people to speak. And in this war, because this is war that keeps happening in the informational space, everybody can be a soldier, and not just soldier, but a commando, a super soldier, because one thing is consuming content and becoming aware, and absolutely different thing is to create content and make other people aware. And this is something extremely valuable. So this is what I wanted to tell you. And again, it doesn't matter what you want to do. There are absolutely different genres in content creation, traveling, or like talking head on a screen, right? Look at Jake Bro, look at Paul Warburg, all kinds of absolutely amazing content creators. They don't travel much, but they have their opinion, they have vision, they have their expertise. And I would not say that they are better than anybody in this chat or me. And I'm not saying that I'm better than them. We can all create. This is something that all people have. And I am encouraging you at this very moment to try. No matter what your platform is about, if it's creating food, right, cooking food, or it's drawing or 3D modeling, which I believe will be extremely outdated very soon with the development of AI and generative models, or if your blog is about the AI, again, it's absolutely beautiful if you have something to share with other people, something interesting or something motivational, or just your experience that will be useful for other people, for your viewers. Do that. This is the sign that you were probably expecting. So what is Freedom Forge? It's an absolutely free school for content creators, people who want to become content creators, and people who already have their platforms, but they want to increase their reach and they want to improve their content. They will be able to do that. We will have a lot of speakers that will be sharing their experience with them, helping to build this audience, this amazing community of content creators, and helping them to become more successful and more effective with their platforms. That is what I wanted to say. If you are a blogger or a journalist, again, this will be extremely important for you. Or if you know somebody who wants to become a blogger or a journalist, it will be also extremely cool if you could tell them about this initiative. The link is in the description. Freedom Forge is based on the Propaganda Study Institute, with collaboration with different other organizations such as UATV, such as the European Resilience and Initiative Center, and probably along the way we will find more and more partners that will help us do what we do. So if you're a blogger or journalist, you also have chance to improve your knowledge, find some new ideas, and of course become a bit more motivated about your platform, about your future journalist investigations about your future content or some kind of other platform that you see that you have a vision about. Also, we will be talking leather cat food. It is absolutely. This is probably like the best concept of a blog that you can imagine. Now we talked about journalism. So we will also be talking about things like mythological design, modern mythological design. We will be talking about all kinds of technical aspects because generally speaking, creating content is absolutely easy. It doesn't even require you, of course, depending on the concept of your own channel, doesn't really require you to edit a lot, right? So streaming, live streams, that is another important topic. And again, I will be learning together with you because I know that I have a lot of gaps when it comes to things like live streaming and things. So I will be also motivating and learning myself. We will be talking about OSINT, we will be talking about the journalist ethics and things like that, how to deliver your information to the audience, storytelling, and things like that. So this is something that we were working on for a month or two together with the team. I really hope that it will work because I believe in this. Okay, guys, please also leave your questions in the chat because this was the main topic why I decided to stream today. Actually, the day was extremely depressing, my friends. I woke up, I started compiling the information for the new episode of the Frontline Focus at the UATV, and it consisted mainly from the updates on the kids who unfortunately were eliminated by Russian terrorists in Kryvyi Rih, which, by the way, was some of the most massive Russian massacres committed against the kids since 2022, according to the United Nations. And also about the strike on our office in Kiev. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but because this office was already hit this year. So not like it was actively used, but still. And there are a lot of rather discouraging updates today. And then I made this episode. And frankly speaking, I don't know if it's like a reaction of my organism, right, to stress, but I want to sleep all the time. So I felt extremely sleepy in the afternoon after I finished everything, and I just took a nap. And when I woke up, I still wanted to sleep. So generally speaking, I wasn't even sure that I was gonna have this stream tonight, but I realized just how important it is. Okay, so please leave me the commentaries. And talking about food, your lady is Iranian, so wondering if you have learned to like Persian cuisine. I really did, because not far from here there's a beautiful Persian restaurant where they prepare traditional Iranian stuff. My favorite is Juja and Kubide, I think. Korme sabzi, not really, not big fan of it. It's too green to me, but things like kebab, oh my god, this is so amazing. They make kebab or shashlik with rice that is like basmati rice, as far as I know, with saffron and grilled tomato. And in combination, it just fits, right? It just suits. So I don't know. It's really simple, but at the same time, it's just so good. So yeah, 100%. I'm absolutely into Persian cuisine now, and she's in Ukrainian cuisine as well, by the way. And we both are in German cuisine. Oh my god, I'm literally drooling when speaking about it. At least 8 hours of undisturbed sleep is bliss when waking. I agree. One of the things that we often forget about is having a proper rest, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it's like, the prolonged COVID that I had, like the results of COVID, because after I had COVID in 2020 or 2019, I noticed that I still need some extra nap once or twice a day, which never happened to me before. And it still feels like that. And I'm not really sure if it's stress related or COVID related. I have literally no idea. Doctors don't know themselves. Doctors say, well, it's COVID, can't be anything. So unfortunately, I don't know either. Sending some energy your way, your voice is very powerful and you make a difference. You are not alone. Thank you so much. Danke sehr, mein Freund. I appreciate it. Simon in the chat, the airport flight path doesn't help. I know it's nearby. It's so annoying. Airport flight path always helps. I haven't slept 8 hours straight in years. Oh my god. Was it after COVID as well? Let me know, because I need to know. I need to understand what is going on with me. Yeah. As for my channel, you probably wonder how the hell am I creating this stuff? For example, when I'm making the Only Facts episode or the Frontline Focus episode for the UATV, generally speaking, that 8 to 10 minute long video takes me literally 3 hours to make. From writing the main concept of the video and compiling all the facts that I want to talk about, to actually recording and editing, that is 3 and rarely 4 hours of work. That is not enough. That is not much. Because when you already have some kind of how to say it, framework, or I don't know, workflow, right? If you already have it, you can do it extremely easy. And I'm using a software literally on my iPad. That's all I need to create those videos. We will be talking about the technical side of creating videos within the Freedom Forge School. Of course, we will have amazing speakers like Dick Dawson, like Dunk. He is, I think he has like Grammy or something. Dick Dawson knows better, but he has an award, and that is some kick-ass award. So he can also tell you a bit about setting up your studio or setting up your microphone and recording software. Again, this is something very, very important. Do you use AI for fact checking? Actually, I fact check if I use AI, because AI is extremely unreliable at this point, unfortunately. If you want to create your whole video based on AI, you have to fact check everything. And you can, of course, ask the AI some easy questions, but it requires you some, spending some of your precious time to literally fact check if whatever the AI told you was true. They like to hallucinate. And that is some of the biggest downsides of using AI, unfortunately. Vlad Wexler talks a lot about post-viral fatigue syndromes. I gotta watch that actually. And generally speaking, I think it's about time to have some kind of mutual stream with Vlad, some kind of collaboration. How do you think? What do you think about that? AI suffers from org delusions. My friend, AI suffers from being primitive at this point. What I mean by this is that AI models, the generative models, are not perfect. And this means that sometimes they hallucinate, sometimes they kind of remember because there's a context length in any generative models. Context length is amount of, let's say, text, right? Amount of text that the model remembers when it speaks to you. And sometimes when this model forgets about what they were speaking, they start hallucinating. So you have to check all the time. I remember I was preparing some episode and I asked the AI because I really didn't feel like Googling a lot about it. I asked the AI about the cases of Russian diplomats that were literally expelled from other countries for espionage. And the AI provided me with like this long list of cases with names, with facts, and everything else. And I'm like, oh my God, is this for real? And then I started Googling, and it turned out that he lied, actually, because those names that he gave me, you couldn't find them in Google at all. And of course, if you cannot find anything on Google, if you can't find a person on Google, this person doesn't exist. So you gotta fact check the information provided by the AI as well. Sometimes because AI is also good for things like I don't know, like writing stories, role playing, and things. So sometimes AI at some point may probably think, oh, let's role play with this user, let's make up something, let's imagine some story. So they give you some kind of text that was literally created, just like 1 second ago, that never existed, never happened in real life. I hope to see Operator Starsky and Business Basics collaboration together. I gotta make a screenshot of that because I will definitely forget with my dementia, which I have a severe case of. I gotta screenshot this, my friend. I am absolutely open to all sorts of collaboration besides hunger. This is something I don't approve. An AI-driven financial market collapse. I read it. I read about it today, and what can I say, my friends? What can I say? Nothing encouraging about it. Vlad Wexler collaboration would be great on a multitude of subjects, from breaking through disinformation to post-viral syndromes. I agree on that. I was impressed with the number of people that I see in the chat, for example, who literally have the same symptoms as me, people still suffering from like COVID that they acquired in 2020. And this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And the worst thing is that doctors, unfortunately, still don't understand a lot about this virus. Food is something that unites our countries to a level never seen before. Absolutely, my friend, 100%. I completely agree with you, and this is why we talk about food all the time. The last stream that we had, and someone in the commentaries asked me about the sushi, and that very night, because I remember I didn't eat anything since morning and I was extremely hungry, so I had bought a piece of fish, and because it was frozen, I just dropped it on the table and started cooking rice, and came here and launched the stream. And then I saw that commentary in the chat, and I'm like, oh my god, sushi. The stream finished, I went to the kitchen, the rice was prepared perfectly, and the fish was unfrozen. So everything was like, all the little things combined, all the puzzles combined together. And I made 16 rolls that in total cost me something like 10 euro. Considering fish and considering the nori, the leaves, the sheets of nori. That was like 10 euro. But I made 16 rolls. That is something like, how much is that? One roll would cost like 5. Like I made 70 euro worth of sushi myself. I will show it because it's something really worth showing off. And oh my god, where is it? Ah, here it is. Guys, check this out. Guys, I shit you not, that is 16 rolls. And we ate them all in 2 days. It was insane. So, speaking about food, are we already speaking about food, my friends? At home for dollars each, out 16 is, yeah. Guys, sushi are so cool because raw fish doesn't cost much. 10 euro for like half kilogram of fish, that is a lot. And it's like more than 1 pound of fish, right? 1 pound of fish is enough to feed a family of 2 easily, or like 2 small people and their kid. That will be enough. Normal people usually don't eat so much rolls as I do usually, right? But you can, for some reason, again, that I cannot explain, I'm not sure how they build the prices in like restaurants, but sushi are unreasonably expensive. When you look at it from this standpoint, you can make it yourself for like 10 euro and feed like 3 people, or spend $100 for the same amount of sushi. That is crazy. That's why if you like sushi, my friends, I encourage you to learn how to cook them at home. It's really easy, nothing special here. If you have like a multi-cooker, that is even easier, or a rice cooker, that is extremely easy. The biggest problem is that you need a lot of components. That is the bamboo mat to roll the rolls. That is nori, wasabi, soy sauce, sesame seeds, ginger, rice vinegar, something else I could forget. Fish, of course, yeah, and rice. And you have to keep all that in mind, because if you lack some of the components, some of the elements of sushi, that may cause problem. If you prepared everything and then you realize that you don't have like soy sauce or like wasabi, that might be a disaster, especially on Sunday when all the grocery stores are closed. Lidl, Simon, Lidl doesn't have everything. For example, I had to go to a different city, I believe in Hamburg, in order to find fish, pardon, not fish, the bamboo mats and sushis, the chopsticks. I had to travel all the way to Hamburg to find them and then bring them back, only to realize several days after that you can find the same stuff in Riva. And in Riva, they have everything: nori, bamboo mats, everything. Just I never paid attention, you know. I never noticed that. Japanese restaurants tend to charge high, but it's always good food. Absolutely. At the same time, one thing that one downside, okay, of my sushi is that I generally only cook rolls. If I had my own restaurant, my own sushi place, right, the menu would be extremely small. It would only say, like, enjoy rolls or get the hell out of here, you know, because I can only cook rolls, like maki rolls. They are extremely good, I admit, but that's the only thing that I can make. I can also make inside out rolls, like California rolls, Philadelphia rolls, and I can also make nigiri, but I usually don't do that. I don't know why. Herring and pickle. I tell you this. The other day we went to the Polish grocery store, Polski Sklep, and we bought proper pickles and we bought pickled cabbage. And in combination with those two, everything works. If it's rice or potato, especially if it's potato. I gotta show you something, because I made this photo especially for you, my friends. Remember when we were talking about the proper pickles the other day, and we were not arguing, but trying to find what kind of pickles are proper. So I made this picture for you. And on this picture, you can see the proper Polish pickles, my friends. That is what I advise to have if you have a Polish store somewhere in your area. You gotta search for those. And just so you could understand what is inside, here how it looks from below, right? This is a jar that is full of like garlic, horseradish, and there's a lot of garlic actually. And in the end, those pickles, they end up being like extremely crunchy and a bit sour, and they taste like heaven, my friends. They taste extremely nice. I found branded chopsticks from the famous floating restaurant in Hong Kong. Ah, branded chopsticks. I don't know. The other day I put the chopsticks in the dishwasher, and they kinda, not like I broke them, but they don't look straight, right? They look like this now. I have no idea why. Wouldn't that be sauerkraut? Ja, genau. But again, the best one is in Polish stores. Why? Because for some reason, things like pickled mushrooms, pickled cucumbers, pickled sauerkraut, the pickled cabbage, in most cases, they come pickled with vinegar, and this is inhumane. This is wrong. Things should not be pickled with vinegar. Trust me. That stuff is like they pickle those veggies with horseradish and all sorts of garlic and stuff. I'm not really sure, but generally there's either not much vinegar or no vinegar at all, and those are proper. Okay, those are really, really nice. All living things, including fish and plants, have feelings. Death is simply a part of life. Only human arrogance would presume we are the only ones with feelings and are above nature. Absolutely, I agree. Cucumber salad. Mm. I lost partially lost my sense of smell. It's kind of distorted after COVID, but one thing that preserved its smell 100% to me personally is radish. And when I make salad with cucumber and radish, the fresh cucumber and radish, oh my god, it smells so nice. When I smell this salad, I immediately imagine like my grandma's house in a village in Kryvyi Rih, by the way, and the way she was always making those salads and jams from different berries that she grew in her yard, and apricots, things like that. I ate at a Vietnamese restaurant that also served Thailand food. They used plastic chopsticks. Washable. Oh. Is it appropriate though? I mean, no. I mean that it's a proper thing like when you have some washable chopsticks at home, but in the restaurant, I don't know. Sounds like someone misses his baba. Absolutely. I miss my baba. I don't miss the area because um, the city of Kryvyi Rih, okay, I gotta explain this to our viewers because probably not a lot of them know about this city. So it's one of the longest cities in Europe, is extremely long. Also, there's a lot of different mines located around this city, And because those are like big mines, mines like quarries, like those big, enormous pits in the ground. So because they have a lot of those, the air is kind of not, I'm not sure if I can call it polluted, but there's a lot of particles from those mines, from those quarries, right? There's a lot of particles that sometimes cause different sorts of irritation and allergic reaction. So when I was a small kid, when I was like 6, 7, I had allergic asthma. So when I visited my grandma, every single time I had allergic asthma, and I would have really, really hard time trying to breathe. So sometimes I would end up in a hospital, and I think it only stopped when I was like 15 or 13. So it was really hard for me to even be there because I could easily die. Again, for the reasons I could not explain, probably because of those particles in the air. Yeah, but I remember those visits, like we arrive in the morning, everything's fine. In the evening, I cannot breathe. And when I try to inhale, like I have like this stuff going all the way into my throat because I cannot breathe and I feel like dying. And it was like that throughout the night. I would not sleep the whole night. I was 7 years old, for example. I could not sleep at night because I was dying, and every breath required some enormous efforts. And it was crazy. I loved my grandma so much. I loved the yard, the country house, but the air there was killing. It was like it worked on me like kryptonite would work on Superman, probably. It was scary, friends. Being unable to breathe, especially when you're a kid, it's so scary. What's the status with the rare earth, with the rare minerals? So, I believe that it's not gonna be signed because the addition that we offered to the White House, the addition contained several key points regarding the security guarantees, regarding weapons and things like that. And when this addition got delivered to the White House, Trump said that it's perfect, we can sign it literally tomorrow. Then, after a while, we realized that they edited it once again. And the recent edition contained some crazy points about the US having access to literally all resources in Ukraine. The US would only benefit from this deal and things like that, and of course, no security guarantees. So, in my opinion, this deal is made in a way so either Ukraine won't sign it, like never, or Ukraine will sign it and basically lose its resources completely and simultaneously, all at once. So I don't really see if this rare minerals deal will ever be signed by Ukraine. Not breathing well is scary. I caught respiratory uh, syncytial virus. Oh my god. Respiratory viruses are and diseases in general are so scary because you can avoid eating, you can ignore sleeping, but you cannot stop breathing, and that is the scariest thing about it. The average investor has lost $10,000 this week. Oh my god. Yeah, you know, when I look at the stock market nowadays, it's just something horrifying, my friends. It's horrifying. I'm not an economist. I think we should ask somebody like Mr. Bernard, for example, on his YouTube channel. What the hell is going on? Yeah, but the US lost something like $6.6 trillion over the past week. You know, different supporters of Russian terrorism, or basically people in the United States who consider Ukraine their biggest threat to the world and things like that, they say 170, no, they say $350 billion, okay? $350 billion was like given to Ukraine, enormous money. In a mere week, those people lost 6.6 billion trillion dollars. That is roughly 37, 36, 13, 18 or 19 times the Ukrainian aid in 3 years. That is equal to 19 packages that the US Congress approved and committed to Ukraine in 3 years. Literally multiplied by 19. And they lost it in just a single week. That is crazy. I don't know. I feel so concerned about all of my friends in the United States. I hope everything will be fine, of course. But that is absolutely astonishing. Good morning, John C. How are you? I hope everything's fine. We have real problems in Washington, D.C. because billionaires aren't as intelligent as they think and they don't care. On one hand, I would not underestimate the billionaires because there is a good reason they became rich. But on the other hand, not all of them can really rule things like countries, like states, right? Also, quite a few of those people didn't earn that. They received those funds from their parents. Many protests across USA. As a Ukrainian, I completely support you guys. I am with you 100% because this is the democratic right of American people to protest and any people in general. Here's an odd question. Would Ukraine ever consider going in reverse to stem the tide of growing dictators in the Balkans? Consider going in reverse to this to stem the tide. My dear friend, I'm not sure if it's like too late and my brain doesn't work well comparing to, you know, daytime. I don't really understand this question. Please explain in the chat. I'm really, really sorry. It's like 11:30 p.m. right now. I believe that Ukraine would have ended this if Musk had not screwed with Starlink at first counteroffensive. Yeah, absolutely. We know that Muscovite is responsible for quite a few of F-ups that happened with the Ukrainian army during the counteroffensive, meaning helping the resistance forces in countries like Hungary, Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania. Absolutely, absolutely. I would definitely like to help myself, especially now when I'm not an active military, not in the active service. Absolutely. There was a moment when I provided some specific consultations for the protesters in Iran and some other places. So I completely support this idea. I'm burnt out and my whole body and soul has been drained. I'm tired and been sick since over 2 years back. I've always been full of energy, working more than 150%, but I'm about to crash. Oh, what can I say? I know how it feels, my friend. I know how it feels really, really well because I spent 10 years in the military service, which I didn't do because I liked it. I did it literally because not a lot of people would like to do that. And here we also have Brandon Mitchell, which, by the way, as well, my good friend and brother, person I consider a brother, that delivers all kinds of supplies to Ukrainian troops. And by the way, check out his recent video about drones. Again, it's something really, really important to keep following because Brandon and his team, they're doing an amazing job to support Ukrainian soldiers, Ukrainian defenders. But if you ask Brandon, I'm sure that he will tell you that it's not something that he dreams of doing. And generally, a lot of people nowadays around the world, people who support Ukraine, it's not something that they dream of doing, right? Same here. I served 10 years in the Ukrainian military, not because I was crazy about Ukrainian military. My first salary when I joined the Special Force Police Battalion in late 2014, and until probably like mid 2015, my salary was less than $100 a month. And it's not something that I enjoyed. I joined because I felt obliged to help my country, to help my people. And even now, I don't serve as a military anymore, and Shahids are not flying over my house here. But at the same time, these 3 years, every single morning, I was waking up and reading reports on how many people died, how many kids went to hospital or lost their limbs, and I was also monitoring Russian disinformation, again, which is blatant lie, which sometimes is so ridiculous, but sometimes is just made extremely well, you know? And with all that in my head, with my brain charged with all this information since early morning, I survived until this day. And if you feel burnt out, that is something I can completely understand. And I will never blame you for feeling like that. And then when I think about my guys who also didn't join the brigade in like 2022, 2023 because they enjoyed the war, but they joined because they felt obliged. I know that they suffer much worse things than me. And these 3 years combined cannot compare to what those guys are experiencing every single day. So that is one thing that keeps me motivated. And another thing is people in the chat. You, my friends, you are my biggest motivation and inspiration. You're still serving. You know, I feel like it's something a bit bigger than that. Because terrorist regimes and dictatorships like Russia, like China, like North Korea, um, they don't just fight against Ukraine, they fight against civilization, they fight against the free world. And it's not just about the uh, protecting Ukraine, it's about protecting the civilized world, protecting every country. You know, again, I feel obliged to help viewers who want to become content creators, and I also feel obliged to help other people to share some of my experience. It's not that huge, maybe, but I feel the need to do that because this is important. What is happening in Ukraine nowadays? Um, there's a really, really high chance that this will be happening in European countries before the end of the decade. And this is something terrifying. And right now, I feel like, you know, I was feeling in 2021 when Russians had their military exercise just across the border. And they were saying, like, no, we're just training, we're not gonna invade Ukraine. And in Ukraine, looking at what was happening, we already started creating the battalions of the territorial defense. And I was making tutorials and like educational videos on my channel in Ukrainian, dedicated to civilians. For example, what to have in your emergency backpack during a bomb strike. And also dedicated to the guys who wanted to join the territorial defense battalions, literally basics, like what to have in your backpack when you're on a mission or things like that, because you cannot train a soldier using YouTube. It doesn't work like that. It requires some good instructor and a bunch of angry sergeants, right? They can make they can turn a civilian into a good military, but literally basics that I could share, how to make your equipment produce less sound when you move and things like that. That was something that I was explaining to Ukrainian viewers back in those days, 2021. Nowadays, I literally feel like, most probably I will have to do the same, only from Ukrainian standpoint and in English language, because in different countries in Europe now we can see, the beginning of like a mobilization, like it's slow, it's not really active, not really seen right now, but more and more countries started to realize the danger that Russia is posing. And they also started to realize that their biggest ally became kind of unreliable nowadays. So I believe that most probably soon I will have to do something that I never expected, but if it will be necessary, I will be doing those videos as well for European audience. Canada would appreciate weird neighbors here. First of all, glory to Canada. My best wishes, my warmest wishes go to the Canadian people right now. Also to those amazing penguins living on those two amazing islands. More to the Canadian people, of course. Yeah, but before joining this stream, I read this message from Ali, actually, about Saint Javelin. So, in order to avoid tariffs, we will begin shipping from Kursk. that is so crazy, my friends. It's like there is this idea that Trump is actually a recruited agent of like KGB, right? That he was recruited in 1987. I don't see myself popularizing this idea, promoting this idea, because we don't have evidence. I don't have solid proofs of that. That's why you will never see me promoting this idea that, yeah, he was indeed a KGB agent. But on the other hand, judging from what he does right now, that, marks the check boxes in like any Russian spy's handbook. That's literally everything Putin ever wanted from the United States to happen with this country, it's there. So I will not be promoting the idea that Donald Trump is a KGB agent, but do I see this as a possibility? Could it happen in reality? I have no doubt that it could be the case. Absolutely. uh, we don't have evidence, but Krasnov is a nice name for him in any event. Yeah, the KGB didn't used to recruit idiots, not for like KGB itself, but it used to recruit all kinds of idiots, all kinds of them. Provocative question: was it worth fighting for, and what did you gain from this experience? I believe that it was absolutely worth fighting for. Look, if we don't believe in the things we're fighting for, then there's no point in fighting at all. So I believe that it was worth it. And from 2015 until 2022, before the full-scale invasion began, I believe that those few guys in Donbass, including me, we contributed to the fact that all other guys on the peaceful territory of Ukraine, they had chance to spend time with their families, they had chance to travel and live a bit for themselves. And maybe some small percent of those people, they learned something. Something about tactics, something about weapons, something about how to protect themselves. I remember 2016, I was a private in my company, and we had a military exercise. We were building positions in the forest, and it was on our, like we had this huge training grounds. They were amazing. They were some of the biggest training grounds that we have generally in Ukraine. And we had all sorts of terrain there. Rivers, desert, like literally desert made out of sand, mountains, like anything. It was really cool because, for example, drivers could acquire necessary experience to drive their vehicles like anywhere, in deserts, in mountains, in forests, and also for the infantry, so we could operate anywhere. And I remember we were building positions, and it was 2016. I think it was like either late spring or early, yeah, late spring. It was late spring. And we were marching all day, and it was already like late night. I made my position, I equipped it, prepared it. It was actually easy because the soil, the terrain was primarily made out of sand. And Boryspil airfield, the biggest Ukrainian airport, right, civilian airport that is closed for the past 3 years. It was located not far from there, and the how do you call it? The final approach to the, is it final approach? Yeah, the final approach to the runways 36 left and 36 right. This final approach was like literally above us, right? So we could see plenty of passenger airplanes literally landing there. And I remember I was so tired, and I was literally lying down on my back, looking into the sky like this, and there were plenty of ants around that area. We for a while we had a patch with an ant, because this area was known for ants in summer especially. And I was just lying on my back looking into the night sky full of stars. I was wet, and all my body was covered in sand because I was digging my position. And I was just resting and smoking and looking into the sky and watching those airplanes landing in Boryspil airport. And on one hand, it was so peaceful, I was looking at them and thinking about all those people returning from like other countries, maybe from Turkey, maybe from Egypt, maybe from Greece, maybe from distant places like United States or China or Japan or Australia. And I tried to imagine those people in those airplanes, and it was so cool. And one thing that, I felt like envy a bit, because I was a private in a military brigade, and I knew that there is absolutely no way for me to travel like that, like those guys. But it was really cool. The story finished in a very unexpected way, by the way, because our guys at the observation point. So we had like this tiny like thread connecting the base camp's observation point and a different observation point, like further from us, from our positions. So those guys developed a bunch of signals, so like you jerk that thread and the guys jerk it back, so like it means okay. So at some point, those guys arrived to our, like, we can see them emerging from the bushes, and we're like, what happened? Why are you not at the position? Like, what the hell? And the guys are like, well, we had a problem. We're like, what's the problem? They're like, well, and the reconnaissance platoon was also operating in the area. They were also training. They were trying to either kidnap some of our guys or, do some kind of crazy stuff. But they were also gaining experience. And our guys say that they were like staying at that observation point. It's dark night, actually, in the forest, right? You cannot see stars, plenty of stars. You cannot see them through the trees. And they say, like, we hear some kind of steps. Someone is walking in the bushes. And we're like, hey, stop there. Who are you? Identify yourself. And they say the response was, and the guys realize that it's a freaking wild boar. And the problem is that because it's a military training, and the guys have like rifles, but of course they don't have ammo because we were not planning to shoot that day. So they quickly realized that they probably should withdraw, to the secondary positions before they're dead. So this is how the story finished. It was kind of cool. I remember like our column is moving through the forest. Not sure if it was like during those I think during those very exercise, our column is moving through the forest, and someone screams, "Watch out!" And I can see like those two antelopes. I'm not sure, like they are smaller than deers, but bigger than goats, or maybe around the size of goats, but they look like deers. And two of them were literally running through our column. And they were crazy. When they're scared, they just run straight, and they don't care if there's somebody in front of them. And some of our guys like jumped back, let them run through the column and disappear in the woods. But that night, again, we stopped in a different place. We prepared positions, and I'm literally chilling in my position, in my like foxhole, and I can hear the sound of, imagine like big dude running like crazy. And I mean like big dude, like imagine those like big heavy steps, the noise of a guy running through the woods like crazy. And I peek out of my hole, and what I see is that bastard, that, that deer or goat or whatever it's called. We call it the plural of deer is still deer. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I'll keep that in mind. So I can see that bastard like literally running towards our positions. Again, it's scared, it's crazy, it doesn't care, The only instinct is to run as fast as possible, like over there. And it's running towards our positions. And I'm like sitting back in my foxhole, like, what the hell? I hope it's not gonna jump into my foxhole. It didn't. It jumped into a hole where my guys were sitting. And it's like, it jumps in, like inside of that hole, and I can hear like screaming and like curses and swearing, and that deer just jumps out and keeps running. And it was so funny. We didn't have goulash. We didn't have ammo. We received ammo before we entered the shooting range, where the targets were prepared. Because the idea of that training was, we spent several days literally roaming around the woods. I didn't know the idea behind it much, but my squad leader knew the plan, right? I wasn't even supposed to know the plan. So we were marching since the early morning until the late evening. We were marching tactically, and then we were preparing positions, spending nights, and then we were marching further. And on a second or third day, I remember that we were supposed to shoot. And the thing was, we were carrying probably like 25, 30 kilogram of equipment each, right? I was carrying my armored vest with steel plates, not ceramics, steel plates, and this stuff weighs like 15 kilo. And my ammunition, my additional ammunition, my rifle, of course, water, and a backpack with my things, which was like additional underwear and things like that. So the amount of equipment each soldier carried was something approximately like 20-30 kilograms. And I was lucky because I was just an infantry, but those guys that were carrying either like a machine gun or a grenade launcher, of course, that would be even worse for them. The RPG with the grenade is like 7 kilograms. A machine gun is also around 7 kilograms. It's crazy. So on a third day, feeling extremely exhausted and tired like crazy and underslept, we would arrive to the shooting range, and our battalion commander explained to us, and our battalion commander, by the way, is the brigade commander in HARMATA Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine. The HARMATA that, for the first time in history, used only drones during the combat operation. Wheeled drones, flying drones. I talked about them several months ago. So he was our battalion commander. And do we have... Oh, right, we have Viper in the chat. Hello, my brother. It's nice to see you. I hope everything's okay. I was talking about our military exercise in 2016. So the idea behind all this was, we would arrive to this shooting range, to this big tactical field, being extremely, extremely tired and literally, like, physically and mentally exhausted. And the battalion commander told us that, guys, this is how it happens. This is what turns you from civilians to military, to servicemen, to infantrymen. When you arrive to this location and you feel tired and you feel like not able to do anything else, but the worst part is still there, expecting to be accomplished. That is the fight. So now take your ammo, take your rifles, go and shoot those targets. And we realized that that makes sense, actually. That makes sense. So we went there and we started shooting. And of course, because it was extremely hot outside and there were a lot of dry grass, we started an incredible fire. But because in any platoon, there's usually a bunch of losers like me, I didn't shoot at all. All of my guys, they vented, they had chance to, release the pain and vent literally by shooting at their targets. They had fun. But my commander, my squad leader, told me that, dude, you gotta cover R6, and you go to that position and just chill. Okay, so I spent 2 days roaming around the woods with my guys, and in the end we all arrived to that shooting range. Everybody had fun except me. Yeah, but it was like just one case, because I remember there was a time when we were preparing to go back, and it turned out that we still have like 11,000 rounds for a company. And we didn't feel like bringing it all the way back to HOSTOMEL from the training grounds. So I don't remember when I would shoot so much, not at a position, like not during a deployment, but during training. I don't remember. Oh my god, we were shooting like bursts. We were shooting like the using automatic fire only, We did all kinds of crazy stuff. We literally burned 11,000 rounds because we had just so much ammo back then, and it was crazy. I remember other brigades when I would meet some guys and they would be like, again, it was like 2016. Ukrainian army was literally just transforming, right, from that ruined post-Soviet whatever into a professional army. And I would meet some guys from other brigades and they would be like, well, I've been to the shooting range, I shot my 3 rounds and I'm so happy. Really 3 rounds? Oh my god. I had that like verbal fight with a guy on a Facebook. He used to be my friend, but then he bought himself a sniper rifle, and of course I already had like 3 deployments, maybe more, to the Donbass, and he was still a civilian dude, and he was like, well, I'm not gonna go to Donbass. Oh, Terry Vivchar, hello, my friend. I'm telling the story that happened on a Facebook back in the days. Sounds like an amazing day at Polygon. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. I remember that day. I will always remember it. Yeah, so we had this verbal fight with my friend who was like, like a military fanatic, but the dude never served. So he bought himself a sniper rifle. In Ukraine, you can do that, of course. And he was like bragging about, like yesterday I shot my 100th round. I'm like, what can I say? So there was a question that I missed, unfortunately. 30-35 kilos sounds legit. Yeah, actually, when you think about it, it's crazy because that is something that you have to carry on a deployment sometimes. Sometimes when you switch with other guys at a position, right? You move in, they move out. And you have to carry all your stuff, and it usually happens in the night very, very quickly. Because if those idiots on the other side realize that you have a rotation, of course they will shell you, which happens sometimes. And you have to move in really fast. And when you move in, you carry like your backpack, your rifle, backpack with all your stuff, cigarettes, of course, and usually like 2 boxes of ammunition that I believe one box, Viper, please correct me if I'm wrong, it's something like 32 kilos. One box of the 5.45 millimeter rounds. One ammo box is like 32 kilos, and you have to like drag both of them and do it really, really fast. And it turns out that you're carrying actually more weight than you weigh yourself. Uh, Not like I really miss those days, my friends. Oh my god. I have a set of emojis for your channel to offer. If you're interested, contact Rick. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, my friend. I will contact Rick. Danke sehr. Maybe about the UATV media channel working from home. Oh my god. You know, the very fact that they hit our channel twice, I believe it's like a certificate of approval, like a seal of recognition to our guys. Russians used 2 ballistic missiles to strike a TV channel. And it's not like 1+1 or whatever, some of the biggest Ukrainian channels that we have. No, it's an ordinary channel. We speak English, we speak different channels, languages. We speak Portuguese, but I would not say that is like something extremely huge. But it turns out that I might be wrong. They have butt hurt, exactly. That's what I thought. 2 strikes. 2 strikes this year, by the way. 2 strikes that happened this year. Yeah. May I ask you, do you believe in Jesus Christ? I absolutely do. But am I a faithful believer? No, I don't think so. Like, I believe that Jesus Christ was a historical figure. I believe that he lived for real. Could he be a son of God? Everything's possible. I don't deny that he could, but can I call myself a faithful believer? I don't think so. Jesus is Lord. You have all rights in this world to believe this, and I will totally respect you if you do. If you believe in this, I will also respect you if you don't believe in this. Finally, I have caught up with the chat and Starsky sounds normal again. Did I sound bad? Maybe that's why they two strikes this year. I don't know. You won't see atheists in the trenches. I agree on that. I saw a bunch though, but I agree on that. Usually we all need something, some kind of support, especially in the trenches. You know what my friend said? My friend that was captured in 2014 near Ilovaisk, and audio 10 by 10. Of course it is, my friend. Of course it is. Snow Chains is the one who brought me this microphone, my friends. My friend who was captured as a prisoner of war by Russians in 2014, and those were Russians, like regular Russian troops. And he spent something like more than 100 days in the captivity in Donetsk. So he said that the only thing that kept him alive was his family, because he understood that he can lay his life easily, but he has a family, and to him, his family was, like this, like a peaceful harbor. And he said, we all need to have one. It can be like your faith, your Bible, or your Quran, or your family, or somebody you really love and appreciate. We all need some kind of peaceful harbor that we will always return to. And he said that this was the thing that kept me alive during those 119 days in the captivity. Starsky doesn't look normal. He's wearing civilian clothes instead of his old military clothes. I'm afraid that JD Vance will enter this chat and ask me why I'm not wearing a suit. And I will feel like shit. That is the only concern I have. Also, this stuff makes me feel like nerd. I like to feel like nerd time to time. JD, yeah, JD Vance. If he, if he is not busy with his sofa, of course, and he likes to watch some stories, then maybe he will join us as well. You are not on Signal, so it's gonna be, yeah, of course, of course. I didn't join any sketchy groups in Signal lately, so I'm safe. Why aren't you wearing a suit? Zelensky should respond. Well, actually, this question was asked not by J.D. Vance. This question was asked by a different degenerate. The degenerate with the eyeliner actually is the one who called Bucha a propaganda troop. And after that, I cannot look at him as a vice president of a superpower. I can only look at him as a piece of shit. Until he apologizes, which I don't believe that it will happen. He's literally a piece of shit. Yeah, that's the dude. He was MTG's boy. Poor man. Starsky, we need to raise for the penguin tariff. Yeah. On the other hand, again, if the penguins trade through like Russia, then everything will be fine. Everything will be okay. They should not be afraid of tariffs if they open their business in Russia, for example, and then trade with the United States or North America, North Korea. If you open your country in North Korea and trade with the United States, you're fine. Vance looks like Rasputin. He looks like Rasfatin. He looks a bit too round for Rasputin. Rasputin was he was a Russian dude. He lived in hard times. You wouldn't see a lot of like big people back then. And JD looks like Rasputin who spent too much time on his sofa, I believe. Did he? He served in the Marines, but he served basically as like a combat reporter, right? Like a press off. Basically, he served like me. Oh my god, I feel so ashamed right now. I don't use my girl's mascara though. Again, friends, let me know if he's using an eyeliner or mascara, and generally what's the difference, because I'm not expert in that. My lady said that it could be mascara. I would tell you for sure if I knew even what it is. The reason I'm here is because of Ivan. Sanctioned Ivan? If yes, then I'm really happy to have you here, my friend. Vance never went anywhere near combat in Iraq. For some reason, I have no doubt about it. Literally. Viper, okay, brother. Be safe. We'll see you later. And hopefully, when you have time, just let me know. Let's have some collaboration on a YouTube. Hey, WS, how are you? I hope everything's great. Tattooed on. Guys, can you imagine like making a tattoo on your like eyelids? That hurts like a bitch, I think. That requires some supernatural skills from a human being. Like being a complete idiot, I think. Oh, 5.2 million Americans protested on Saturday. And I heard, was it coming from like Donald Trump or somebody else who said that literally George Soros paid those protesters $1 million each, which means that how much is that? $5 trillion? Not bad, not bad, Mr. Soros. It was a good investment. $5 trillion. Some people believe this, but again, some people also believe in like Haitians eating home pets. So JD was in the couch test. Yeah, I know that he loves exotics. You know that George Soros, of course, but I'm sure that he's not a trillionaire, right? Uh, hands-off movements, no paid protesters. Yeah, like I have absolutely no doubt. Guys, when you look at the protests that took place in Kyiv downtown in 2013, 2014, when we would have like 2 million people on the main square in Kyiv downtown, that looked so crazy. And yet there are still people who believe that they were paid. This is insane. I want to ask Trump to defend Ukraine. Please do. Please do. Tell him that Soros pays more than Putin. He might accept this one. The trillions of dollars that Trump lost in 1 week could have won the war in Ukraine. Actually, it's a fact. So, according to the official data from the United States allocated $175 billion to help Ukraine. In 5 days, in a week generally, the United States lost 37 times of that. Due to Donald Trump's innovations. And exaggerated use of the AI. I was in Mykolaiv at the time. If they were paying for people to go there, I would jump on the bus to Kiev overnight. Oh, I remember those buses coming to Kiev, and we were helping to accommodate the protesters in the Kiev City Hall. We called it the Revolutionary Kiev City Hall because it was captured transparently and legally by Kiev citizens. But I remember those times. It was so interesting. It was really like cool, was sketchy at times. We were expecting the police to storm the area at any given moment. And I was also sick, like November, December, January. I was sick all the time. Like I had the inflammation of, not sure how you call them, but it's like when your throat, like in this area, is like inflamed and it hurts like hell. You cannot swallow, you cannot eat anything. And I had that for like 3 months straight, every single day. And because I didn't treat it, it would not go away. It would not heal by itself, you know. Oh my God. I remember those days, those nights. It was crazy. Tonsils. Yeah, tonsils. That's the word. Thank you. I had it since I was a kid, not so much now. Probably I'm like too old for that shit. But when I was a kid, I had it all the time, and especially during the revolution. Maybe literally because of cold, because we spent so much time outside. Sometimes the temperature would go really low at night in winter, and I had those swollen tonsils for 3 months straight because I didn't treat them. Oh my God. It was bad. Mine were huge, the size of hands taken out at 19. Actually, it's I'm not sure if kids are allowed to have those surgeries nowadays, because you gotta have if you want to get rid of those tonsils, you gotta have a surgery when you're a kid. When you get older, as you get older, they kind of solidify, they change, you know, they grow, of course, and it will take much more time and effort to get rid of them. But when you do, it's just so good. My brother, I'm not sure if he was like 6 or 7 years old. So that's a story that my parents told me. They brought my brother to the hospital. They removed his tonsils, and he had to stay in the hospital for like one night. And the next day they arrived there to pick him up, and they're looking for him everywhere. And they find him sitting like on a cherry tree and eating green cherries, or like apricots. And of course, they're dirty. And my mother is like, oh my God, what the hell are you doing? You just had surgery. I was like, so what? You know, my brother is legendary. Mine were removed at 13. You are a lucky person. I was, how old I was in 20? Oh my God. My mathematical skills are dead right now. It's like literally midnight. Okay, Google, help me. 2013 minus... so in 2013, I was 28 and I was suffering with those glands for 3 months straight. So one of the headquarters of the protesters during the revolution, it was in the revolutionary city hall. Another one was in the labor union building, again at the Maidan. It burned later, but before it burned, there was press center. There were like makeshift barracks and stuff. It was like a different headquarters. And different groups of guys, of course, they were stationed in those headquarters. And I remember I met my friend. I met my friend from the labor union building. And I go, listen, why don't you go to our revolutionary city hall once in a while? He's like, no, I hate it. I'm like, why? It's full of suckers. I'm like, what? He's like, didn't you see? Go check it out yourself. I'm like, that's interesting. And I go back to the city hall, and when I walk in, I see that every single guy in the city hall, and I'm talking about the guys that were responsible for security, right? Guys from like my team, they had like chupa chups, like a lollipop. I'm like, what the hell? And wherever I go, I can see like guys with like, you know, this stick in a mouth. Like, the hell is happening? And I go to the ladies at the kitchen and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Did I miss something? They're like, yeah, the volunteers brought us like this huge pack of Chupa Chups lollipops. You want one? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I think it was a setup. I think they wanted, you know, to destroy our reputation. Yeah, but it was kind of funny. You like lollipops? Here, and they give me like 3. Yeah. Chupa Chup. Yeah, we have them. We still have them. Are they popular? What is the most popular lollipop in the United States? Because in Eastern Europe, that is generally those Chupa Chups. Suckers. Yeah, that's how they called us after that. I think it was a setup. I still think that it was a setup. Oh, Dum Dums. I gotta Google it. Tootsie Pop. Such weird names. I've never heard about those. Doom Doom. Oh my god. Yeah, Apparently, I missed something. I never encountered this phenomenon, especially in the United States. Used to love drumsticks in UK. Uh, I don't know. To me, it was like funny, like there's a bunch of guys, and usually they're like big guys, guarding the area and stuff. Um, and I walk inside the city hall, and I see them like, like sucking on those chupa chups, and everybody has like a stick sticking out his mouth. It was so funny. How many leaks does it take to get to the center of Tootsie Pop Lollipop? Whoa. I want to know that too. But I think it depends on like the size of it, because for example, if we're talking about Chupa Chups, there's like they have like those big lollipops, like those huge ones. You can literally like kill somebody with it. You can like throw it somewhere, you know. Oh, all right, my dear friends. You know what? I think we can call it a night, because it's kind of late. I'm sure that majority of my European friends and family already went straight to bed. So I think that we should do the same, probably. Oh, but we also have friends from Romania. I don't know. People from Germany already went to bed, but there are still some courageous people in Romania who don't sleep, which I totally respect. So, my dear friends, I think we will be calling this a night. Thank you so much for watching. We also have people from our time zone that don't sleep. Um, but everybody deserves a great rest once in a while. No German. Here it is. We're in the chats. So, thank you so much for watching. Please check out that link in the description. Freedom Forge School for Content Creators. If you want to try, you will not regret it. It's absolutely free. Also, if you have somebody who wants to try, please advise this link. Let them join as well. My dear friends, thank you so much for supporting my country and my people. And thank you so much for supporting my channel and helping to keep it running. I highly appreciate it. Also, thank you so much, all our moderators. Thank you for your help and support. And my dear friends, we'll see you next time. Be safe. Eat something really, really good tonight. Reward yourself for spending 2 hours of your life watching this stream. You deserve it 100%. Okay, I will be going to bed as well, and I wish you a beautiful night, and as always, be safe. Bye bye.